I was like, it feels like I'm like having to suck it. Don't make me laugh. Come back tomorrow. But anyway, we'll talk about the surgery, which I wanted to talk about. My life. Friday, I put my 2 weeks in. I was so scared. I'm still really scared because I don't have a for sure job. And once I do have one, it's like, what if I don't like that job either? I'm gonna give it a chance. Just really scared because one, there's no guarantee I don't have an income within the next 2 weeks, or I do for the next 2 weeks, but then after that I don't. And I don't know where I'm gonna be working, what's gonna happen. I'm really scared. But I just know that this is what I had to do. I would have been there for another month, another year. I lost 3 offers. I had an interview on Friday morning, and they said they just gave the last position away, $17 an hour, fulfillment in Nordstrom Rack, and it was like 5 minutes away from my house. And they gave the last position because I wasn't able to make an interview. It's mostly because I don't have time. I don't know. Anyway, I'll just talk about that later. The wisdom teeth story. And my issue with dentists, a lot of them feel like they are not there to help you. I had one dentist growing up, and she was the sweetest. She was nice. All throughout my childhood, I was so scared. I hated the dentist, but that was just because, you're a kid, and, you get cavities when you're a kid. But when I was older, I haven't had any problems until I moved, and this new dentist is telling me, you need to have braces, you need to get braces, you need to get wisdom teeth out. You're gonna lose all your teeth if you don't do these things. That costs you millions of dollars. Like, bitch, at the time I didn't have any money for that, And they're telling me I had to do all these things, guilting me into it. They're bullying me, basically, not to be like, oh, I hear what people say, everyone's so sensitive nowadays. Like, bitch, it's not about being sensitive, it's about being nice, and it's not about, that did not help at all. It really is not about being sensitive, it's not about being politically correct, it's just about being smarter in the way you approach people, human beings. That is not how you talk to people. Like, working at Target, there are so many people that do not know how to talk to people. Like, I obviously didn't know either, but I was not in the position of a manager or leader or anything like that. Even if I was, I would not talk to any of my associates that way, anyone below me that way. So these dentists, the ones that I've seen, I went to like 3 different ones, they did not know how to do it. Because years later, when I finally have some money, it makes this whole thing a lot worse because I just put in my 2 weeks, and now I spend $1,000 on this surgery when I'm gonna be having no income for the next month. I won't have a job. So it's all really scary and horrible timing. I at least have some money to where I'll be fine, But it's so scary. I'm really scared that I'm just gonna be losing money. But, I had to do this. So, anyway, years later, I found out, like, I looked into it myself, braces and wisdom teeth. Well, wisdom teeth, I was always like, okay, even though, like, they never hurt me, Like, okay, it might not hurt now, but it will become a problem later. So I'm like, okay, braces, same thing. It was mostly the shock from growing up all these years. They never really told me, like, it's necessary, or I'm gonna lose my teeth. Like, they never told me that. So I'm like, why are they making this huge deal now? Every single time I went to this new dentist, they tell me, have you thought about braces? Have you thought about this and that? I'm like, bitch, I already told you the last time I don't have the money. And I'm really confused, like, they never told me that I needed it or I would lose my teeth, They did suggest it, but they never said anything like that. And yes, of course, I would want them to tell me the truth, I'm not saying like lie and tell me, oh, it's not necessary, whatever, I'm thankful that they're telling me that I do need it. Oh, what the? You see that bug? frustrated because I didn't know how to do it. Like in the video, it showed an empty space to put the thing so it can stop the bleeding and not just rest where it should be, like a band-aid and like covering the blood and putting pressure on it, you know. I look really dumb, but I always do, so it doesn't really matter. So that was really frustrating, especially because it was on both sides, and I'm like, oh my god, like when I open my mouth it messes up this side, and I couldn't even like put both pressures, like in the video it showed an empty space, and in my mouth there's not an empty space, like it's just stitched up and it doesn't even look like it's missing or anything. Maybe because it's swollen. I think it is swollen. I hated the feeling of it. I knew I had to keep something in my mouth to keep it bleeding, and it said that if you keep it like just like that and not putting pressure in it, it could cause blood clots or something. So it's like, well bitch, how am I supposed to do this, you know? All that was so frustrating. So I would say make sure you learn everything, all that before, because bitch, I'm not gonna remember all this after the surgery when I'm under all this anesthesia, you know. They gave me two options to put me to sleep, you know, stronger medication, and it would have to be an IV, and of course that would be more money. So I was like, bitch, give me the discount one, and that one was just that you're in anesthesia, you know, they put it through your nose and you're still awake, and they explained that the other one was mostly just for people that are anxious and nervous, and bitch, yeah, I'm really nervous about it, but like at the time I was like, I think I would be able to do this, and I was. I'll talk about my other surgery, the LASIK, in another video, because I was able to do that too. It's pretty much the same thing. They numbed my eyes, and I was awake and aware the whole time. It was pretty much the same experience with this too. Oh, with the LASIK, I was just numb, and with this, I was under anesthesia. With the LASIK, I felt pressure. Like I didn't feel the pain. I just felt like this strong, like the machine was really like putting so much pressure on my eye, like my socket and my face, and that was so uncomfortable, but it was tolerable because I knew, you know, just at the time you're like, okay, it's not gonna be for too long, you know, like everything, it's only temporary, you know. So I was like, okay, you know, just breathe, it'll be over, and it was, and it wasn't too bad. So weird because I felt it, like I saw the laser, I felt them like opening it and, you know, taking it out. It was so weird. Obviously that was a better experience than this because, like, you know, the bleeding and everything. And when I got home from that, I just went to sleep. So I had the anesthesia, you know, we got right into it. I signed all the things and all that. They put the thing on my nose and they started talking to me, and I was like, why are they talking to me if they know I'm gonna be drunk, you know? So I was breathing it in, and I was thinking like, should I really breathe it so much in? Because I was like trying to, like, you know, I was scared and nervous, but I knew I could do it. I just needed to, like, you know, relax. I was like breathing, and I was thinking like, should I really be taking these deep breaths of anesthesia, you know? It was the most weirdest thing. It was like I was on drugs. She said it would be like if I was drunk. I felt like I was on another planet. I felt like I was in a movie. I thought I was gonna die. After a while of breathing it in, I, at one point, like went into this, what do you call it, trance or something. I never done drugs, so I wouldn't even know what it's called, but because my brother had his teeth out, wisdom tooth. I think it was like one tooth out, and he said he didn't remember anything. So I was expecting to not remember any of this, but I still did, you know. So at the time I was like, try to remember, try to be in the moment, you know. At the same time I was like, what if it's just going good in my head, and in reality, like I'm kicking and screaming, and you know, it's the opposite. It was so weird. Same thing as the LASIK. I felt the pressure not to relive it, especially for me, and to make it worse for you. But I felt them, you know, I don't know what they did. I saw videos of it before, but I'm not looking at it now. I felt them like go up and really go in there, and it was so horrible. Like, it was just pressure. It wasn't any pain, but you know, just the pressure, and the feeling was like, I don't like this, you know. But I was of course able to do it because one, I was under anesthesia, and two, you know, talk yourself into it. It's only temporary, you know. So anyway, where I was like blacked out, I realized that I could move my hands, and the first thought that I had was probably like freaking out in real life, but in my head I'm so calm, and I'm trying to remember all the things that happened because I wanted to remember, and I did, thankfully. I also thought like, I don't know why, I was like, oh, I'm like probably freaking out in person, you know, in reality. So I'm like, make sure my phone is with me before I leave, you know. Make sure my wallet's not falling out and everything. So that's what I did. I grabbed from my phone. After a while, I got out of the trance, and I was like, you know, back in the chair, and I saw, you know, them just talking amongst themselves. And bitch, it was like a movie. They were like flirting with each other. It was a girl and a guy talking about other coworkers. Someone called someone the N-word. Like, bitch, what is going on? I felt like I was in a movie. And I was like, I wonder if I have any control. I was so confused. So I did an experiment. I was like, let me just move my hand like this. I was like this. Because I remember that she said, you might feel something in your hands, like tingling. They were talking, and then I did it. You know, she noticed they were talking. They're like, oh, are you okay? And I was like, you know, just nod, or just try to say yes. But then I was like, well, wait, that might give it away, you know, because like when I was in the trance, whatever it was, I don't know what I did. So at one point, yeah, I did it again, and I was like, you know, they're asking me, are you okay? And I just, you know, stared. They're like, oh, he's probably, you know. I was like, oh my gosh, I do have some control. And I felt like, you know, this is real time, and this is actually what's happening, you know. This whole time I was like, I really thought I was in an alternate universe or something. Like, in my head at the time, everything's fine. But then once I go home, go to sleep, and wake up, my mom's gonna be like, you were freaking out. There's blood everywhere, you know. I probably would have died or something. But it was all basically what just happened. Just I didn't have so much control over my voice. Or, you know, I couldn't really talk. Because like, as I was talking, or I tried to talk, I could hear myself, you know, talking, like yes and no, you know, responding. And I felt like I was talking as if I had Down syndrome. Not to be mean, I know that's so mean, but I was like thinking like, is that how people with Down syndrome are? They feel normal, they feel trapped. Like, you know, that is so sad to think about. Like, what if they are like that and they don't have any control over how they sound and all that, you know? I mean, that's sad in general, you know, obviously. It makes me so sad, you know, talking about it and seeing people with it. Not that I just want to disregard them, you know. It's just so sad. It's even more sad to think about that. But anyway, not to disregard that again, them again, like that, but, you know. So, at that time when I was awake, or more aware, I remember them putting the stitches in. I remember them saying, okay, this is the third tooth and the last tooth, you know. So I was like gone for the first two. So at the end, the doctor left, you know, walked right out. He didn't even come back at all. And the nurse was just telling me all the things about, you know, the gauze and everything. And I was just like, why are you telling me now? Like, bitch, I'm not gonna remember any of this. Or I thought That's what I was gonna say. At one point, it felt like my jaw was out of place. Like one was lower. It felt like they broke my jaw or something. Like this side was lower. Watch. No, please, God, please. Don't let there be anything wrong with this side. Obviously, this side's bigger. Look at that. So I'm really worried about, first of all, the pain. If it's gonna come tomorrow, please, because it's still kind of numb. So please, God, no pain tomorrow. At one point, it felt like something was really bad. So I was like, please, God, please do not let this be. Don't let me feel this tomorrow or at all. Don't let it be so bad. Thankfully, the Lord has answered my prayers. He answered it, at least for today. Like when I got home, no pain at all, even all day. Did not feel anything, no pain. Discomfort, yes, from the gauze, from just, not being able to open my mouth. I can't open my mouth. But thankfully, no pain at all. Like, I was so thankful all day. And I'm really scared about tomorrow, but we'll see. I've just been taking the medicine for pain, just in case, because I said to take it before the anesthesia wears off. I was reading it as I got home, which I was surprised that I was able to do all these things. I walked up the stairs by myself. I was reading it. When I got home, I was still under anesthesia, and I'm just reading all these things and all that. And one of the things said that I needed to breathe. It recommended that I take the medicine for the pain before the anesthesia wears off, so I can manage it better, tolerate it better, like I said before. But I'm like, why didn't they tell me that before the surgery? After the surgery, they didn't even tell me that. Like, bitch, you could have told me that. You could have said that I should have got the medicine before, so I was ready. I took the medicine like an hour or 2 hours after. It still helped, I think, but I don't know. It would have been helpful if they told me that. So those are the two things. Make sure you understand what to do after, because I was so frustrated with how to put the gauze in, what to do if it's just bleeding or if it's gushing and all that. The discomfort from the gauze. I kept thinking, like, what do I do? I felt like I was doing the right thing, putting gauze in my mouth, but I also didn't want to cause any blood clots from, I wanted it to have pressure, not just sit in there, So those are my two things. Like, make sure you understand what to do after. And with the anesthesia, at first I was feeling nauseous, and I think that was just from the anesthesia, because I had a headache. I felt so weird. I felt like I needed to do something. I couldn't relax, but I forced myself, just close your eyes, calm down, and just breathe, not breathing the anesthesia anymore, so I can breathe and let this wear off. And it really was just anesthesia, because I took a little nap after, and that helped so much. I was in so much, I guess it was pain. I felt sick, I felt cold, but then hot. It was just a horrible feeling. And once I woke up, I felt so much better. Yeah, that's my story. Thankfully, I didn't it could cause something bad to leave it in, so I took it out. Tried to leave it as it is, and just if it was bleeding a little, to swallow it, because you can't drink through a straw, and you can't spit. So I tried so hard, like no spitting, no drinking through a straw. Thankfully, it stopped. I was able to, take it out, and it was fine. And it was so weird. When I took it out, I was like, why is this still big? It looks like I still have something in my cheek, but it's just swollen. So that was fun, but yeah, overall, I'm so thankful that I didn't feel the pain, and I'm thankful that I was able to do it. If they give you the option. If you're really scared and nervous and anxious and all that, and you're just so worried about it, and you just want to have no worries, and you're willing to pay, go ahead and just do it. I guess it's more if you are sensitive to seeing all the things which you can see. You could close your eyes. It's not like you have to keep your eyes open to see the teeth and all that. I didn't see the teeth really, but I saw some things, For that sense, if you're like really scared about, because you do feel something, the pressure, like I said, and all that. So if you're scared, you don't want to feel anything at all, I would say do it. The other thing, pay more. But if you think you can handle it, I think you could be able to do that, But you know yourself better than me, so if you really need to save more money, then just think of it like I did. Like, it's gonna be temporary. It's only temporary. It'll be over. When they're like really in my teeth, they're putting so much pressure. They're like, do you feel any pain? I was like, no. And they're like, it's just pressure, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm all drunk, saying, yeah, it's just pressure. And yeah, it was just pressure. But in the moment, I was just like, dear Lord, please do not let me feel this tomorrow, I was more scared about feeling it after, because I could feel the pressure. And I was just like, oh Lord, if I could feel this, I know this would hurt so much, But yeah, anyway, we have medicine for that, and ice packs. I've been putting ice just to try to put this, make this go away. It's not working, but, it'll be okay. So, that's all you gotta think. Like, it's temporary. The swelling will go down. The bleeding will stop. Things come to an end. That's the good thing and bad thing about everything. Wow, very smart. So, that's enough rambling about all this. If you have to do this, obviously look more into it and all that. There's a lot better videos and a lot more information on Google alone and on YouTube. But yeah, that's just my input on it, and you'll be okay, Money wise, I think there are plans where you can pay in payments. It'll be okay. Look at it as this will help you, like this is just another thing to help you, another thing you have to pay for, like gas, rent. It's just another thing to keep your life at least on a good path, Think of it like that. Like, it might not be a good path, but to keep it from going horrible, just pay for it, and you'll eventually make the money back, It is annoying that it's gonna take longer to reach your goals, but, just another thing you have to do. So, pain-wise, you'll be okay. It's gonna last. For me, there wasn't that much pain, like I said, but the discomfort will only be a week, hopefully. My brother was like a couple of days, he said. So, it'll go away. Everything's temporary. That's the good thing and bad thing. So, enough rambling. I talked too much. And I don't know when I'm gonna look normal again, but I did film some other videos, so thank God for that. So thanks for watching, and hope this helped.